Alright guys, so it's another great Navy day, and I thought, I was going to make this video later on, but then I was reading a comment and to make this video, so I thought, you know what, maybe it's a good time. So with what I know now, how would if I went back to boot camp, how would I do things differently? So my main goal is to rank up to E3, coming out of boot camp as E3. That's the main goal and topic of this video. So before I start talking to you guys about this, I want to say two things. Number one, I'm going to assume that you watched my promotion from E1 to E2, E2, E3 video. If you haven't, links down in the description. Make sure you watch that before you watch this, okay? So I'm not going to cover what I said in that video because, it would be too long. And number two, what was number two? Okay. Number two is I'm going to be sharing with you my views and my opinions, okay? So this is not the silver bullet. This is not the formula that I'm going to be telling you. So, so the reason why I say that is, later on, like a month later, you come out of boot camp and you say, hey, I did what you said, it didn't work. I don't want to hear that. So what I say here is something is in my mind what I would do and how I look at things if I went back to boot camp. Okay, so the top 5 positions I would take. Okay, I would consider taking is RPOC, AROC, main yeoman, MA, and starboard watch. Okay, those are the top 5 positions. Now, if you're in an all-male division, with those 5, I would also take head PO and forward hold PO. Okay, so if you're in a female and you're saying why, why wouldn't you take head PO and a forward hold PO? It's because a lot of times, like I said, referencing to my other video, links down in the description, head PO belongs to the other division sometimes, and the forward hold PO also belongs to the other division sometimes. So your RDCs are not going to see your work and effort being the head PO, being the forward hold PO. And also, if you're in an integrated division, it's going to be split between AROC and RPOC. So, for example, let's say Division 1 and Division 2. So Division 1 will have one male RPOC and one female AROC. Division 2 will have one female RPOC and one male AROC. So that's the rule. So there always has to be a mix. It can't just be 2 male RPOCs. That doesn't work. Okay. So, all right. So RPOC, as we all know, you probably saw many different videos, people talking about RPOC, is the main guy calling all the roles, calling all the shots. So the thing with RPOC and the thing with all these other different roles is, right, just because you're RPOC doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get promoted. And what I mean by that is, let's say, boot camp is 8 weeks long. Let's say you're 6 weeks in, and then your RPOC gets fired. And you say, and your RDC asks, hey, who wants to be a RPOC? And you raise your hand, I want to be RPOC, I want to get promoted, right? This guy right here. Just because you take it at the last minute doesn't mean you're going to get promoted, all right? So don't be misunderstood by that, and don't fall for that, because what RDCs want to see is you make progress from start to finish, like I said, in my opinion. And just because you have a title and you didn't put any effort into it, you didn't really shape the division, you didn't really impact the division, you just took it at the last minute, you just took the title at the last minute and you kind of know what to do, so you kind of give the commands, you do the right thing. Just because you did that doesn't mean you're going to get promoted. Just same goes with AROC, main yeoman, MA, all that kind of stuff, okay? With AROC, I thought it was the most complicated thing when I first joined in, but it's really not. All you do is, you sing cadence. You make sure when you guys are marching, you guys march as a division to go places. So what marching is, you step, left, right, and everyone moves accordingly, in sync. And the AROC's job is to make sure everyone is in sync. So, you would say, hey, left, right, and you would like put some tunes into it, like left, right. So, it goes on and on and on and on. I'm not going to say everything like that. I'm not going to, tell you what the AROC cadence is. I'm not going to tell you, what the tips about that is, because, I don't think I can. I don't think I'm allowed to. Because that's something you guys have to figure out when you get there. But just know that I told you, you might think being AROC is the most complicated thing, a hard thing, but it's really not. It's really, really easy, and it's really, really fun. AROC is one of the more fun jobs, I would say, that you can have when you're in boot camp. And so main yeoman. So main yeoman, there's 3 different yeomans. Medical yeoman, so if you're sick, you would go to the medical yeoman. And if you need any dental work, you will go to the dental yeoman. But there's a main yeoman who's in charge of the all other yeomans and a bunch of other stuff with the main yeoman role. And the main yeoman would be the one that gets promoted. And maybe sometimes if the RDCs really like the other yeomans, they would maybe too, but for the most part, it's going to be the main yeoman, okay? And also the MA is iffy, 50-50. MA, he keeps order and discipline throughout the division, also keeps in close contact with the forward hold PO and the head PO, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do, and they're on spot for inspections. And also the starboard watch. Starboard watch, I would say, is if I had to go back and I didn't get RPOC, I didn't get AROC, it would definitely be starboard watch. And starboard watch is definitely the most stable job, I would say. Starboard watch really has 2 duties. Number one, 24/7, someone's going to be standing watch. There's 2 people that always stands watch. One's what's called the rover, moving around the barracks, and the other one stays in front of the door, greets any petty officers coming in and out. So the starboard watch coordinates that, so everyone has to stand those watches. So he has to write, who stands watch at this point, who stands watch at this time, and communicates with the yeomans, making sure, hey, is this guy going to dental at this time, because I was going to put him on watch at this time. All right, so he is. All right, so I'll put someone else in that time. So starboard watch, number one, maintains that. Number two, the biggest thing is what you get graded on in boot camp is what's called a det log. So det log is a written history of what you guys do throughout boot camp. So every single day, you wake up at a certain time, so you have to write that down. And you guys, take a shower at a certain time, so you write that down. You guys PT, physical training at certain times, so you write that down. You guys eat at a certain time, so you write that down. So not only starboard watch writes that down, everyone else who's on watch, so the people who are on watch, roving, and the guy who stands still, they write stuff down, and you have to make sure that everything written down on the det log. So that's one of the biggest things that you will hear in boot camp, and that is definitely the biggest thing in boot camp as far as grade-wise, as your overall division. You have to make sure that is written correctly, eligible, and all the format is correct. Okay, so you have to make sure that is on point. So I would say that's pretty easy, as when what they're going to teach you what needs to be there, and there's instructions laid out that you can read. You have access to every single day on what needs to be there and how you write it, how you write this, how you write that. So I would say starboard watch is the most stable, easy job, and if you can get your hands on it, it's a definite. I would say, in my mind, if I went back to boot camp, I would definitely take this, and I would definitely know in my mind that I'd get promoted. And if not, if I didn't get starboard watch, because starboard watch is one of those things that if you're good at it first time around, they're going to keep you, okay? So you're not going to get really fired for it unless you mess up, unless you're not doing a good job. But if you do a good job the first time and you maintain that performance, you're going to stick around from start to finish. However, for RPOC, AROC, and MA, it's going to be hard, because RPOC, you don't really know much. You don't really know what to do. So I would say the RDCs fire first few RPOCs to make an example. And it's not RPOC's fault. It's not the AROC's fault. RPOCs and AROCs have a pretty difficult role, have a pretty difficult position. And when I first came in, my uncle said, hey, coming in, make sure you observe what they do. They will make mistakes and they will get fired, and then you learn from it and you take that position. So I kind of waited it, but then I decided to be the forward hold PO. But if I went back to boot camp, I would first take RPOC, knowing I would get fired. I would first take AROC, knowing I would get fired. I would first take MA, knowing I would get fired. MA is pretty iffy. MA is pretty iffy. So it's one of those things relating back to the promotion and bootcamp video, E1, E2, E2, E3. So I actually wouldn't recommend MA. MA is pretty iffy. If you're an all-male division, all right, go with MA. MA is something they would consider as promotable. RPOC and AROC are definite ones they would consider promotable, but they are difficult. Okay, AROC is difficult because you have to make sure AROC does certain stuff, like it's a lot of like keeping in step, making sure everyone's marching correctly, and making sure you're at the correct place at the correct time for inspections. So MA is pretty difficult. RPOC's just as difficult because you have to maintain the division, everyone. So you're kind of the like babysitter in a sense. And RPOC and MA are kind of positions that people hate because you have to maintain order and discipline. And one of the things that you will always face is people will always talk. So if you saw my platinum rule, people will always talk. And RPOC and MA will always say, be quiet, shut up. And it gets to the point where you guys argue. And that's normal. Okay, you have to understand that's normal. Okay, and RPOC and MAs usually get hated. Or usually get disliked by the majority of the immature people. Majority of the mature people will respect RPOC and MA and what they do, but majority of the division, which I would say are the immature ones, will not like you, okay? And they will be very verbal at it. And so I would personally take RPOC knowing I will get fired because I want the experience first. I want to show my RDCs, hey, I tried this, all right, so I know how it feels. I know I got fired. But then just because the second person becomes RPOC doesn't mean he's set, okay? He will definitely get fired too at one point. I would say, okay? He would definitely get fired. I would know he would definitely get fired because at one point he's gonna mess up. And then when that position opens up again and when the RDC says, all right, hey, my RPOC sucks, who wants this position? And no, even if I got fired the first time, I would say, hey, I want this. Hey, I learned my mistakes, I can improve, right? You know, sometimes let go of your ego sometimes. Let go of your pride and ego because a lot of times I feel like people feel, you know, when I talk to people who were RPOCs, who were AROCs, you know, they get fired once and they don't go for that job again. So they got fired from being RPOC once, and they're like, you know what, you know, I kind of don't want to be an RPOC anymore. You know, I don't want to embarrass myself again, and they kind of think like that, and they never pick it up again. So I would definitely go for it first time, get fired, knowing that I would get fired, and the second person who goes up, I would say he's definitely going to get fired at one point, and then I would take that position again. And I would take a position non-stop. Now, if let's say you guys found a pretty stable RPOC, now I would definitely go shoot for being a starboard watch. I would definitely go for, if I'm an all-male, for the head PO. If I'm main yeoman, AROC. MA's iffy, like I said, but if you're an all-male, you have a pretty good shot at being promoted. Now, MA, I would say, you know, if I had to guess, what about 75% chance, okay? Because MA is one of those, it's not that important. It's not that important position. But for some reason, the MAs do get promoted a lot. So, because they have to maintain order and discipline, right? But then people don't listen. So you tell people, stop talking, guess what? They'll still talk. And the blame will be on the MA and blame will be on the RPOC for not maintaining their division. And they will get punished for it. So, like, the position of an MA is very, very iffy, okay? But a lot of the times, people who are MAs get promoted. So, just because on the statistics basis, I would take MA if I was given the chance. But I like being an RPOC. If you have seen my previous video, I was kind of in bootcamp terms the RPOC of my fleet in A school, and I really enjoyed it. I loved it. And being an AROC is not as hard as you think. It's pretty easy. So if I had to go back to boot camp, I would definitely say the most stable job is starboard watch. If you're an all-male division, the head PO, and maybe MA and maybe forward hold PO. I've heard forward hold POs get promoted, so that's one of the reasons why I took it. But if you saw my other video, you know, you see what happened. So if you're in an all-male division, forward hold PO is something that you should consider. Now, if you're in an integrated division, you know, like I said, RPOC, AROC, main yeoman, would be something that you should really consider. And don't be afraid to get fired, guys. Don't be afraid to get fired. And the thing is, you want E3s taking these positions. So, you know, a lot of times people say, oh man, why are E3s taking RPOC? Why are E3s being AROCs? Why are E3s being MAs? They're ruining it for the E1s, right? But the thing is, let's say I'm a main yeoman and I'm an E1 and the other roles are taken up by E3s. So they can't get promoted. They can't get promoted. They can't be promoted to E4 just because they come out of boot camp being an RPOC. No, that's not how it works. It goes down to whoever has the main leadership positions. They promote certain number. So if all the leadership positions are taken up by E3s and there's you who's like maybe like a head PO or a yeoman and you're an E1 or E2, then yeah, they're going to promote you just because they can't promote E3s. All right, so you would ideally want a lot of E3s taking other positions because it prevents competition. Okay, so because they can't compete with you, they have nowhere else to go. They can't be promoted. So if I went back to boot camp, in closing, I would definitely, as a stable job, shoot for starboard watch. Starboard watch. If that gig didn't work out, and I have experience being an RPOC, AROC, so I wouldn't mind being fired from the first day or first 2 days when I'm an RPOC or an AROC, because I have that experience now. I'll take it again later on. So definitely starboard watch. AROC is fun. AROC position is fun. If I'm an all male, I would do head PO. Main yeoman, I feel like you can get promoted well. And MA, iffy, like I said. Forward hold PO, iffy, like I said. And RPOC is a very difficult position to maintain. But I believe if you're an RPOC and you're right about 3 to 4 weeks in, so you're 3 to 4 weeks in, you're an RPOC, you're going to be much more stabilized. They're not going to really want to fire you or get rid of you. Because if you've been an RPOC for a while, let's say I would say 2 weeks, you have a good amount of experience that they can carry you to the end, okay? And like I said, guys, but the thing is, with the RDCs, right? All RDCs are different. So, you know, the RDCs, the instructors that I got, what they value is not going to be same as, you know, sometimes what I hear from other RDCs. Some other RDCs actually yell, actually curse, actually put you down, actually make you, their goal is to make you cry sometimes. So there are RDCs like that, but for the majority, the RDCs are really nice people. They are strict because they have to, okay? And what was I going to say? There was one big thing that I was going to say. Holy crap, I knew I should have wrote it down. Let me think about it.